right, I would like to now announce some of our final information for the Jackson Marching Ironman Band Camp. This information is going to be emailed out as well as PDFs of all the information that I'm going to show you here today. But I just wanted to bring it to you via video to help out and make sure that everybody's on the same page. You will need to have a physical on file and approved by the main office in order to participate. This is especially important as students have been mainly inactive since early March. So we really want to make sure all of our students are in good physical condition and able to endure the heat that we will likely encounter when rehearsing outside. When you go to turn in your physical, you can go into the Jackson High School main office and you go in the front area into the main office, and then you're going to go around that front desk back into that hallway, take a left and find Marcia Taylor's office, and you can give that to her. Now, sometimes it is not approved just because it's missing some information. It could be insurance information. It could just be as simple as a signature here and there. So if you get called back in for that, we appreciate you taking care of it as quickly as possible. All students will need to sign a liability waiver in order to participate as well, and that is something that's going to come directly to the band director. So if you haven't yet to turn that in, you need to bring that signed by your parents to your first practice in order to participate. All right, the schedule. Week 1, which starts next week on, let me double check the calendar, July 20th, we're going to be rehearsing one section at a time. I mean just the flutes or just the trumpets or, et cetera, et cetera. Now, these are going to be happening in various locations, and I'm going to go over that in a little bit. Week 2, we will get into some combined sections, no more than 50 people, including the instructor at a time. Now, there may be 4 or 5 sections rehearsing at the same time, but in completely different locations, so that we can keep that number of total students congregated to less than 50. So let me go ahead and pull that information up. So in terms of scheduling, we need to take a look at the summer schedule. So check this out. We have all rehearsals are required, blah, 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 blah. On Monday the 20th, it's just going to be our leaders, right? Just the leaders, just section leaders for each instrument. And we're going to rehearse over on Field A. And it's just going to be some meeting for about 4 hours. We're going to do some instrument gathering, some leadership training, how to teach, how to march, and we're going to do some marching ourselves, etc. And then I'd like to see my librarians and equipment managers actually inside the building from 1 to 2. That's only about 3 of you. You will not be doing your normal job so much this year. The directors will be handling most of the equipment, but I want to show you guys where everything is and how we're going to take care of things in the future. Week 1, this would apply to everyone. Everybody comes on July 21st at some point that day. Now, look, I have Field A, which I'm going to go over next. But I will be rehearsing with flutes from 8 to 10, clarinets 10:30 to 12:30, alto saxes 1 to 3, and sousaphones 3:30 to 5:30. Now, Mr. Kugel will have trombones, tenors, baritones from 8 to 10, trumpets from 10:30 to 12:30, and mellophones from 1 to 3. Mr. Wilson will rehearse with the drum line from 8:15 to 12:15, and Miss Strong and Miss Mannering will be working with the flags and majorettes from 5 to 7. Now, those locations are as follows. I'm going to pull up map 1. Okay, map 1. All right, so for this one, we actually have our auxiliary members and our percussionists. Now, you can see right in the middle there, that is Jackson High School and the student parking lot, alumni stadium, etc. So our auxiliary members are actually going to rehearse out in the oval on the grass there. And we're going to do our best to learn some of our routines, learn the basics of twirling, as well as some marching fundamentals while we're rehearsing. Percussion is actually going to pull up along the back of the school. That's where you can be dropped off, and we're going to rehearse right there. Now, let me be clear. You need to meet outside at all times. Miss Strong, Miss Mannering, as well as Mr. Wilson, when students arrive, will not immediately go into the building. We would ask that all students wait outside, and your directors will allow groups of 10 into the band room to get the equipment and bring it out. As we continue, we're probably going to try to find alternate locations so that it's just easier, so our directors and or some of our student leaders, when they arrive a little bit earlier, will be able to pull out all of the equipment for themselves early, and making sure we're wiping down cases and hand sanitizing whenever we do this type of thing. All students that are driving themselves should park in the student parking lot. If there's not enough room for some reason, we have overflow parking lots all over the place. And when these students are practicing their marching skills, they're actually going to go over to the field next to Alumni Stadium. Outside of it, there's usually a little field painted there to work on their marching fundamentals. So that's for auxiliary and percussion. Now, for our brass members, we're actually, and woodwind members, we're going to be practicing down the hill where we always practice. So Mr. Hurd's groups are going to be, my groups are going to be on the field we always use for band camp down the hill. It's going to be painted, available, ready to go, which is, down the hill from JHS, but down Bond Street from JMS, as you can see on the map. If you're looking for a place to park, you have two options. You can either park at Jackson Middle School and walk over, or you can park at Jackson High School and walk down the hill. If you are being dropped off by a parent, you may be dropped off directly at the location. And then Mr. Kugel, you can see it says Field B, Mr. Kugel. In the image, there is not a field there, but they are going to be painting a second, probably a little bit smaller football field for us to be able to use for our rehearsals. So all the woodwinds will be on A, and the brass will be on B, and likely we won't be out in the middle of the sun the whole time. When we eventually get to playing, we will probably find some spots in some shade to do that. So that's the locations. And just remember, you're supposed to be bringing your instruments and everything you need directly to rehearsal. We're not going to be making use of the locker room. If you are a sousaphone player, I'm going to put all the sousaphones in the band truck, and I'm going to drive it down the hill each day, so that way you can get your sousaphone out of the truck. If you play baritone, same thing. Something that's too large to take home every single night, although we would like you to take it home if possible. And sousas, we can get you your concert tuba so you can practice at home. For those of you that are in the drum line, we know that you probably won't be able to take that home each night, so we ask that you take your practice pad home and work on things. But as far as drumline equipment and flag equipment, I already said we will be allowing those groups to go into the building just in small groups. Let's move on. Get rid of my maps here. Okay. So as far as rules and regulations go, actually I need to probably bump one back. Nope, that's it. Rules and regulations. You know what? Let's pause. Let's talk about week 2 schedule because we didn't do that yet. The second week's schedule. I have to find it. Sorry. Second week schedule is pretty similar, but not the same. So if you take a look at week 2, we start combining some groups, all the same locations to the same teachers. So flutes and clarinets will meet for 4 hours instead of 2 hours, and we will be on the normal field down the hill. And then I will meet with altos and mellows from 4 to 8 in the same location. And at that point, hopefully we're doing some more playing, we're doing some more marching in our squads, and learning that drill in different chunks so that eventually, hopefully, one day, we could possibly do that together. As far as Field B, you'll see that trombones, tenor saxes, baritones, and sousaphones are all going to be together from 8 to 12 on Field B, and then trumpets from 4 to 8. Drumline, you are going to be consistently the same over these next few weeks, from 8:15 to 12:15. Majorettes and flags, please take note that your time does change this week, and that goes from 4 to 8. Week 3, tentatively the same schedule, and then week 4, we're going to take a look at how weeks 1 and 2 work, and if we see it as valuable, we will keep the same schedule just to keep it easy. If we think we have some ideas about how to better group students together, we'll get that information out, hopefully a week ahead of time, so that way we can make accommodations for students to get to the school appropriately. Okay, let's go back to our presentation here, and let's talk about some rules and regulations. So all students should have a mask if they will be inside the building. That's absolutely no exceptions. You have to wear a mask in the building. But I'm going to suggest you bring it every single day because we're going to be using them outside as well. In terms of spreading a concentrated matter of, and I'm going to get to personal protective equipment in a bit, but it makes most sense with the newest studies and scientific information that has come out from a Colorado State University study, that you have your masks on at all times, just so we all feel safe and comfortable. Now I understand it's going to be warm outside. I guarantee you this will be unlike any band camp ever. It's going to be difficult, strange, and new. And I know that wearing a mask can be daunting in the hot weather, but we're going to take plenty of breaks. We're going to take plenty of water breaks and do everything we need so that students are able to keep up with protocol. All students should be dropped off directly at the rehearsal space. I touched on this a bit. Limited number of students will be allowed in the band room for large instruments. Sousaphones, baritones we already covered. You'll be in the truck getting your stuff. Drum line and flags will be in the building. All instruments should go home every night. Only large instruments kept in lockers. You must keep a minimum distance of 6 feet between each individual at all times, period. Even if you're masked, I'd like you to stay 6 feet apart from each other at all times. All of our marching drill this year will be at a 4-step spacing, which is actually like 8 and some change, 8 feet 2 inches. So please keep personal space between each person. Rehearsals are going to be under supervision of Jackson City Schools personnel only. We will not be bringing in the college students this year to do sectionals or anything like that. We figured it's just safest to have just our personnel here. All individuals must avoid physical contact with each other, including high fives, huddles, other contact, anything. Just, you shouldn't be near each other enough to even do that. No congregation should occur before or after the rehearsals. So here's the thing. When you get dropped off, you need to go directly to your location, and when you are done, you need to leave. There's no gathering in the parking lot. There's no anything of that nature. You need to come. We're going to rehearse, and then you have to leave immediately. Some additional ones. Students must do a self-symptom check before going to the training session. So if you have fever or cold symptoms anytime in the last 72 hours, you should contact a medical provider and you should stay home. That goes for students and that goes for teachers as well. If we are feeling under the weather, even just a little bit, likely your rehearsal will be canceled that day for that time. If you are sick, and we're actually going to be doing some symptom checks at the beginning of each practice as well, where each student is going to be asked a series of questions in order to make sure that they are in good physical shape to do the rehearsal and not risk exposure to other students. Vulnerable individuals can resume public interactions, but should practice physical distancing, minimizing exposure to social settings where distancing may not be practical unless precautionary measures are observed and implemented. So if you're welcome to come, but if you don't feel like you will be safe and comfortable there, of course you are welcome to stay home. That's just fine. Students should report to rehearsal in proper gear, so you don't need to change once you get to the building. And you need to shower at home at the end of each rehearsal. Go home, shower immediately. That's what I would do, and throw those clothes directly in the washing machine and just do that. Make a pattern every single day. You should wear appropriate clothing to camp every day. If you need any other kind of accessories, anything, like everything you bring must be your own. You got to bring your own water bottle, your own sunblock, your own bug spray, anything like that. And absolutely no playing of each other's instruments. That's a big no-no. All right, so in terms of protective equipment, newest studies, like I said, from Colorado State University have come out in terms of just preliminary studies in how playing an instrument for a prolonged amount of time can spread viruses, bacteria, everything through the air pretty easily, and I think we all knew that was coming. So we are probably likely not going to be playing our instruments the first week unless you are a drumline member, because it is perfectly okay to just wear your mask, and then you are taking just about every precaution you can in terms of drumline. But for our wind instruments, we are going to need some additional time to gather enough PPE so that everybody is safe when we are playing. So for flutes, we are going to be purchasing these little plastic shields that slip over the head joint of the flute, and actually it ends up being about that big or so, and it takes care of and blocks all of the spit that would come out and all the initial burst of that from the air you're putting across the head joint. And then in addition, we're going to have face shields for each of the flutes. We may have to make some adjustments on the side so that you can properly hold it and wear the face shield at the same time. But that's what we're asking for you to do. And that seems to be the least amount of particle emission in terms of flutes. For our single reed players, clarinets, and saxophones, we're going to need face masks with openings for the mouthpieces. Now, we are going to be trying to provide all this equipment for students. Once again, we're going to do our best to get stuff to you. If you would feel most comfortable providing your own, that would be totally fine with me. Send me, have your parents send me a picture of the equipment you're going to be using, and that's going to be fine. In terms of a face mask with an opening for a mouthpiece, it's just a normal cloth mask with an opening. You put the mouthpiece in, and same thing, studies are showing, like, it does, of course it has a hole in it, so it's not going to prevent everything, but it does prevent a lot of the particle emission. And then for those instruments, we will be needing some bags with, pillowcase, or a pillowcase is something like that with openings for your hands, drawstring at the top, because a lot of that, these are instruments that the air goes in and out the closest opening. So depending on how many fingers you have down, some of the air comes out the bell, but some of the air is just coming out of all the different tone holes. So we need to take precaution there. For our brass instruments, same as the woodwinds, we need the face mask with the opening for the mouthpiece, but then we're going to be making nylon bell covers because it does matter what the material is made out of. So we're going to be making these nylon bell covers that go over each instrument bell, and the certain, I don't know if it's the density, thread count, what it is exactly, but it does help to filter out and contain some of the particles. In terms of percussion and auxiliary, just wear a face mask and you'll be totally fine. When we're just marching and we're not actually playing an instrument, we'll have you be wearing your mask, because at that point we'll be about, like I said, 8 feet apart from each other. But I think for everyone's comfort and the length of rehearsals, it makes most sense to have them on. Now, let me be clear, you still need your instrument that first week, even if we're not playing, because we're going to be going over how to hold the instrument, how to do all the different marching commands with it, the attention, the horn position, all those different things. So you need your instrument. We just won't be playing it until we all have proper protective gear. So some other things to bring with you. You need to definitely wear a hat. Sunglasses are good. Make sure you have gym/athletic shorts, sneakers with socks. Now I don't recommend Converse. Those are bad. Crocs, not good. You need like actual tennis shoes, sneakers, whatever you want to call them. Those type of shoes with good support on the bottom, and you need to be wearing socks. And I actually recommend bringing a couple pairs of socks with you, especially if you're one of the groups that happens early in the morning, because sometimes the grass is wet and it will get your shoes wet and your socks wet, and you don't want to. No one wants to rehearse in wet socks. It results in lots of blisters. So please wear sneakers with socks. Light colored clothing tends to work best in the sunlight. It reflects a lot of that heat, and it will help you in the long run. There's even some UV protected clothing out there if you would want something like that. But everything needs to be dress code appropriate. So, we need sleeves happening. We need, shorts of appropriate length, etc. Some other items I would ask you to bring. Of course, you need your instrument. And once again, we're not playing till we have enough PPE for each student. You will need to provide your own water bottle, and make sure you are drinking water at night, in the morning, at all times, so that you're hydrated for rehearsal. Sunscreen, pencils, bug repellent, chapstick, flip folders and large, everything that you would need, you need to bring that. Throw it in a backpack. You'll be getting a Jackson Ironman backpack at some point if you don't own one already. And for the first year ever, I'm recommending you bring a chair, because eventually when we get to a point where we're going to be playing, and I'll let you know, usually probably the day before we start this, but I'm going to have one. I've got a fancy one. I'm even going to try to maybe put an umbrella on it so that I can make sure I'm in the shade, because I'm very fair-skinned. But you can bring a chair, and preferably a chair that allows you to have as good a posture as you can. We don't want any beach chairs that allow you to lay out on your back, because that's not going to be good for playing an instrument. But for our 4-hour rehearsals, if we're not standing and marching, we will be playing, and I'm not going to make you stand in the sun and the heat and play the whole time if we don't have to and we're not playing and moving at the same time. So Please bring a chair. That'll be totally fine. What not to bring? No gum, no pop, absolutely no sugary drinks of any kind, lemonade. You really just need to bring water. That's it, and that's all. Um, no items of extreme value, because you shouldn't just be leaving anything valuable like that laying around. No denim. Please don't come in jeans. That's not going to be fun. Jewelry, expensive jewelry, you don't need that. Flip flops, absolutely not, unless it's something you're coming in and then you change to your tennis shoes. I will do that actually. I usually bring a pair of flip flops so that after we're done rehearsal, I can take my wet socks off and put my flip flops on. Dark colored clothing, I mean, it's not against the rules, but you're going to feel better if you wear light colored clothing just because it helps you with the heat. Terms of communication, to make sure you're receiving all changes to the schedule. This is going to be our primary format of letting you know if something is canceled. It's going to be our Remind system. There's an application you can download on iPhone and Android. You can go on the web-based one, but we just recommend subscribing to the text alerts. So all you do is text the number 81010, and the message should say at JMI and then your student's graduating year. So if you're a senior, it will say at JMI 2021. For juniors, it's 2022. Sophomores 23 and freshmen 24. Now, all the messages will be the same to each group. If there are any changes at all to anything, I'm going to send it out to all of you. So please just make sure you have that. Both students and parents should be subscribed to the text alerts. As like I said, that is the main form of getting our alerts out. We'll also tweet and put on Facebook any changes. So you can check there too, but I recommend the text alerts. Now, we're going to take a little tour of the band website, www.jacksonbands.com, because on there you can find all this information, all of the music, as well as where you can order your shorts for your summer uniform. Now, most of your students' accessories are going to be ordered through the band, specifically Mrs. Billman. If you need any accessories for your instrument, or if you need shoes for your summer uniform or your polo, if you need new sizes, or if you're a freshman member, all those things will be handled through her. But we are asking this year that you purchase your own shorts online. So I have links to those shorts on the website. If you have all of your stuff from last year and it still fits, that is perfect. We're using the exact same stuff. So with that being said, let me close this out and go to the website. So if you go in and you type it, jacksonbands.com, it will bring you to this home page. Now the home page has our address and phone numbers and things like that. News, of course, any new information about band is here. The Jackson High School bands, descriptions, etc. Now, if you need to get in contact with me, you can go ahead and fill this out here. You can just fill something like this and it'll send it directly to my email, or you can join the JHS band email list. If you want to be on get our emails and you're not getting them, just go on here, submit this form, and then I'll be adding those periodically to our email list. Check out the media tab. We've got our band awards, slideshow, and our famous online band theme. There's all kinds of information out there, alumni, boosters, if you're looking to make a tax-deductible donation, or sign up for our Kroger Rewards or our Amazon Smiles. It doesn't take any money away from you, but all the money you spend on Amazon and Kroger for applicable purchases will come back to the boosters, staff, etc. So JMI is the most important one. Here you'll see we have downloads of the waiver forms, the rules and regulations, the band handbook, physical forms, band camp survival guide. I'm gonna put the schedule up there, all kinds of other stuff. Here's the summer uniform shorts. Check it out. You click boys shorts options. Oh, there's the shorts you need to buy. Oh, you need girls shorts. Oh, here's the shorts you need to buy. They're on FrenchToast.com. It's a school uniform site. And then below here, marching band music, you have Fight Song, Alma Mater, Salute to America's Finest, Star Spangled Banner, the cadences. Everything is on here. Now, notice there's nothing for show 2 or senior show yet, and we're missing a tune for 8th grade night. We don't have those yet. They've been ordered, and I just need to scan them once I do get them, and they'll be on there. So please take a look at this. You can even click on our Facebook and Twitter pages up here. We're excited to see you at band camp this year. I know it's a ton of information, but as a parent and as a teacher, I love to be armed with information and know exactly what's going on. So if you have any questions or you have any schedule conflicts or anything at all, please reach out to me. My email address is rhurd@jcs.k12.oh.us. I can assure you that myself, Mr. Kugel, Mr. Wilson, Ms. Strong, Ms. Mannering, and Mrs. Billman are all going to take incredible care of your students while we're participating in our 2020 Jackson Marching Ironman Band Camp. We can't wait to see you, and we're going to make the best of this. Thanks, and have a great day.